Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the first 3-pack set from the second wave of the B&M exclusives, which features the 5th Doctor as well as 2 Cybermen Androids and Cyberbomb accessories. My god, have we actually been spoilt for choice this year. I know it's caused a lot of upset and disgust in the Kingdom of Whovian, but I for one am happy with this set, as these gormless bastards used to scare the crap out of me as a kid. So, before we actually take a look at the figures, as ever, we are going to be taking a look at the packaging. As ever, the figures are housed in this lovely window display with the blue and grey TARDIS and the logo on the side. With the gold foil limited edition sticker, you also have the name of the set, as well as the year of broadcasting, as well as a little red tag stating that these figures are from the 5.5 inch scale range. And on the back, you also have some publicity images of the figures themselves. Now, however, they have removed the synopsis that was seen on the previous sets from this year, which is a bit of a shame, as it gives a little inkling to what the story is about for fans who may have never seen the story before. But it's by the by, who cares? You know, it's a bit of cardboard at the end of the day. And then opening up the packaging, something they haven't taken away is the fact that you now have these new backdrops based on what the story the figures are from. Here you have the caves from the beginning of the story of Earthshock, the TARDIS in the background with the little hatch where the bomb is, and it makes a nice little display piece for your figures if you decide to keep it. I do love this touch, as it means that fans can recreate the scenes from the end of episode 1, where the Doctor is forced to retreat away from those menacing fiends. Taking the figures out of the box, they all look great. But before I get into the interesting part of the set, I first want to dive in and take a closer look at the 5th Doctor. So starting off with the Doctor, it's pretty much the same standard figure that we have seen countless times before. And I know I've reviewed one which came out with the TARDIS last year, and you pretty much get the gist of what the figure is about. And if you've ever owned one yourself, you know, it's pretty much, you get the gist. It's based on his look from season 19, but just without the hat. As ever, the paint job is immaculate. They've really made sure that the striping on the jumper has no paint bleeds. As far as I can tell, there doesn't seem to be any at all. The red button is also gone like it was on the previous set, and now just been painted white. Apart from that, the rest of the renditions are pretty much the same. His coat has been created in the same way as it was last time. Instead of actually painting it, it's now been opted to cast a coat in the cream colour rather than actually painting. And the only paint that has been applied is the piping along his lapels, pocket and the back, which just looks really nice. Again, it's just very nice and crisp. There doesn't seem to be any bleeds. And taking a look at the head sculpt, you can tell it's Peter Davison. It seems a lot stronger now, especially around the eyes. It does look, you can tell it looks like Peter Davison, and I must admit, paint apps are starting to get stronger on the 5th Doctor releases, as the previous two weren't as good, in my opinion, and I am so glad that we are starting to get a more justifiable figure for the 5th Doctor. The added bonus to this, actually, that makes it a nice variant is the fact they've given him mud all up his trousers and jacket. And I'm thinking maybe it is a little bit over the top. As yeah, he does get pushed around a lot in the story, but I would think it would have slightly been better if they just toned it down a bit and just have it so it was applied to the lower trousers and shoes. But it is a nice bit of creative licensing and doesn't take too much away from this, as it really is, again, a very nice Peter Davison and a very nice variant for your shelf. Now, it may not please all fans that we have yet another version of the 5th Doctor, but we have had quite a few new releases this year, with the likes of the Vord, the Sensorites, as well as Ian Chesterton. Now, they can only stretch the budget so far each year, and something like an Adric, Nissa or Tegan would require head-to-toe new sculpt. But never fear, as it could be something that we may still see in the future, considering more money is obviously being used to tool some of these new figures. Up next, we have the more interesting part of this set, which is the 2 Cybermen Androids that were first seen in the first 2 episodes of the story. This is something that I wasn't really expecting with this set, as I would just assume that we would have most likely gotten 2 Cybermen and a Doctor. But nope, we've actually got some more monsters that are actually from the 80s. Now, I can't believe these were the chosen figures, as I didn't think anyone would actually expect to actually get these. I know a lot of people have shown some disinterest with these figures, but I must admit, these are rather neat. And I remember watching the very first episode of Earthshock, and these guys scared the crap out of me. Their blank face plates and the weapons being shot out their hands just terrified me to bits. And seeing these in hand, it just brought a lot of memories back for me, being intrigued but scared at the same time when seeing these things on screen. Even though these figures are simplistic, they are a lot of fun when it comes to posability when displaying these with either the Doctor or a Cyberman. But just like the Sensorites as well as the Vord, the base figure again is a Shara's Jek body, with a lot of new tooling just to try and recreate the costume that was used in the show. Firstly, taking a look at the head sculpt, you have this lovely tarnished gloss finish that really makes it stand out from the rest of the body. They have really done a good job replicating what was seen in the actual program. There isn't a lot going on regards to the details at the front, but at the end of the day, they were just blank-faced robot servants. But in terms of the sides and the back of the head, you do have some additional details regarding the creasing along the back of the neck, which does imply that there is an actor underneath of this costume, as well as some ears that are protruding out of the stocking-like leotard. I just really like those added bonuses that have been added, as it just adds a level of accuracy to what was seen on screen. And of course, the second bit of new tooling is of course the hands. The figures themselves actually come with two pairs of hands, one neutral pose, and one with the open palmed firing hand. And as you can see, they've actually added a little nozzle in the palm, which just looks magnificent. This again was where the guns were housed in the android, so it's simply a superb bit of detailing here, and they definitely look fantastic when displayed this way. The other hand is slightly posed as open, but to the point where you could probably display it as an action pose if you so desire. They also have done a tremendous job adding these little creases to the hands just to make it look like it's all bunched up to the fabric. Really great again, I really do like that. And if you so desire, you can pose it with a neutral hand if you decide to display it that way. Again, really lovely stuff. You have all the creases here and whatnot. It's just another display option if you don't want them attacking your other figures on the shelves. I just love that in general you have this option to pose these figures in any formation that you so desire. It just does harken back to certain figures that many moons ago had different parts such as different heads and arms, etc. So you could have them guarding the hatch with the bomb, or to be fighting the Doctor as well as the soldiers. And then moving down to the feet, they do seem to be a new sculpt like just the rest of the body, but I'm not 100% sure. But they have been painted in a matte black, but with the added bonus of having specks of dirt on the feet, which clearly shows that they have been walking around in a muddy cave. Again, very nice little touch. The dirt has just been painted in a light brown, it's very subtle, and you'd have to look up close just to actually notice it. So even though these are very simple, I am very glad that we have these as figures. Like I said, I didn't expect these at all, and I didn't expect to actually have these as proper figures. One thing I will add is that actually in the show, the actors were actually played by one male and a female, but considering that it would be extremely costly just to make a generic female body just for this set would be preposterous. Overall, a very nice figure and very nice to add these to the collection. And then quickly taking a look at accessories, we really have been spoiled for choice this year, as we also have the Cyber Bomb. The main focal point for the Doctor and co to try and deactivate this was the main reason why the androids were there in the first place was to protect it from the intruders. They have done a tremendous job here with all the details on something that is such a small scale. It's just basically a hollow piece of plastic, but sculpt-wise, it's very authentic to what the prop looked like in the show. As you can see, there's a lot going on with all the buttons and the timer, as well as the little ridges on the top, as well as the tubes connecting the two pieces together, as well as those little red and black buttons. This was something that they didn't really need to do, but here we are. A rather lovely added bonus, and something else for you to choose if you decide to recreate those scenes in that episode. So in terms of articulation for the Fifth Doctor, the head can sort of turn side from side, but with every Fifth Doctor figure that I've owned, don't really push it too far to the left, as you always end up with this horrible red scratch on the side, which is always awful. The arms can do a full 360 turn. Biceps can also do a 360 turn, but they seem to be very loose, so be very careful if yours is the same. Elbows can also move. You've also got articulation at the hands. You've also got waist articulation. I mean, I won't try it too far. I mean, this one seems to be very loose, so it's a bit disappointing, but oh well, I've got tons of these. The legs can also do articulation here, and you can also bend at the knee. It's just like any other generic figure that came out during this time. But in terms of the Android, this one has a bit more articulation. Head can do a full 360. Arms can also do a full 360. Biceps can do a full 360. You can also move the elbow out just like that. Hands can do a full 360. Waist can also do a full 360. He's also got thigh articulation. His legs can also move forward and out to the sides. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this figure. So on a whole with these 3 packs, this has to be one of my favourites from the second wave, as we finally got more 80s monsters, as well as a new 5th Doctor variant, as well as a new accessory. We definitely have been spoiled for choice when it comes to accessories, as it's something that you wouldn't think about when these sets first started off. And on that note, all I can say on this set is that it's now available in B&M Stores with the rest of the sets, so happy hunting there. And yeah, if you liked what you saw, then hit the sub button down below, and if you're feeling generous, you can also hit the like button, because apparently that matters. But yeah, stay tuned for the next review, which will be the 5 Doctor set. Until then, stay tuned, and bye for now.